Hello, I'm Sylvan Bell coming to you live from Treasure Island, California. And if you don't know where that is, like the Bay Bridge is right behind me, and it's an island right in the middle of the bay, and over there is San Francisco. We're talking about the reasons why somebody didn't buy from you. And so here's one of the really big ones is you didn't tell them what the next step was. You didn't tell them what they needed to do. You didn't ask for the business. And a lot of salespeople fall into this category is they go through an entire sales process. And just because they feel like they may be rejected at the end of the call, they don't bother to go through all of everything that they need to do. And they don't ask that person, hey, can you do business with me? Hey, you know, the next step is give me a credit card. Or hey, the next step is I need a driver's license. Or hey, I need you to fill out this credit application. Or just give me some cash. And a lot of times salespeople, especially when they're struggling, especially when there's a lot of rejection that's already gone on, they kind of take it easy at this point. They get to the end of the call, they do 7/8 of the work. They do 3/4 of the work, and they get to the very end, and then they don't ask for the business. And that's a huge mistake. And the reason is that buyer is setting that expectation and the confidence. They're expecting you to ask for the business, right? If you're in sales, there's a couple of things that people expect. They expect you to be like, kind of like what they have in their mind of a salesperson. But I have been on sales calls. I have ridden with salespeople they'll go through an entire process and they have the buyer on the hook. The buyer is ready to say yes. And you know what the salesperson does? They go, so when you're ready, give me a call. And I'm like, these people are ready right now. Just get them to fill out some paperwork. Just get them to sign. And because the salesperson doesn't want to be rejected and they don't want to look like a salesperson, quote unquote, whatever the heck that means, they don't ask the person to buy, so they don't get the sale. And then we get to the car and they're like, well, what happened? And in cases where I can't interject and then ask for the business, they get to the call and they say, what happened? And I say, hey, they were ready to buy. You just didn't ask for the business. No, they weren't ready to buy. And I'm like, they gave you all the buying signs. They're like, well, what do we got to do? And then you said, just call me later, or, we'll call and get this set up. You got to let the buyer know what the next step is. You got to tell them, like, explicitly, like you give the performance, you give the presentation, you do everything you're supposed to do, you go through all the information, and just tell them the next step is, I just need a credit card. The next step is, I just need you to fill out this form. The next step is, I just need this, right? Just tell them what the next step is. And so sometimes when you're struggling and you go, why are people buying from me? The answer is because you didn't ask for the business, okay? So for you, I'm going to give you a step. What you got to do is practice with somebody. Practice with your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, the neighbor if you got to pay somebody, some random person off the street if you got to pay them, and practice going through the last 1/8 of the call, which is asking for the business, right? Figure out like 10 different ways to ask for the business. Figure out a couple of different ways to ask for the business. And what's going to happen is you're going to find is like as you go through this process and as you role play and as you get good at it and as you get used to it, you're going to find that it gets easier to do at the end of the call. Okay? So ask for the business. One of the reasons why people don't make sales because they don't ask. Okay? Now watch, I'm going to ask for business. I'm going to ask for you a favor. I'm going to ask if you could do a small favor for me in the box down below. Leave a comment, question, or story. That'd be fantastic. To the right, to the left, there's a subscribe button. You know what you got to do. Subscribe. And then you can send it out to all your friends if you stumble upon Facebook, Twitter, Google+, the LinkedIn. Sylvan Bell. Only Scott Bell, Seminole, coming to you live from Northern California. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Aloha.